Hello, Miss, and hello, friends. Hope you all are having a great day. Today, we are going to presentate about communication political economy approach. So this is our Sigma team, me as Putra, Davin, and Nanda, Ben, also April. Okay, so before we start our presentation, let's start with a little bit of a quote. Culture war is a struggle to define the cultural foundation of the broader social order in which we live in. Okay. Now, these are the materials we are going to go by. The first being the beginning, and the next is political economy tradition, cycles of mass media development and decline, assumption of mass society theory, Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft, the emergence of critical and cultural theories of mass communication, macroscopic versus microscopic theories, basically a comparison. And last is our previous material, Marxist theory and neo-Marxist. So let's start with the beginning. There was William Randolph Harris, and Harris was a publisher of one of the largest newspaper in New York City, as well as the head of a chain paper stretching from west as San Francisco. He was a leader or father in the dominant era of the mass newspaper. The first mass media theories developed as a reaction against such practices, or in other words, were against the excesses of a rapid competitive media industry. This was a turbulent era in world history, one characterized by enormous social change, industrialization, and urbanization were reshaping both Europe and the United States. Most of this change was made possible by the invention and then rapid dissemination of new forms of technology. But technological change occurred with little consideration for its environmental, social, or psychological impact. And by the time the Civil War ended, the telegraph had spawned a number of wire services. The first electronically based media networks supplying news to affiliated papers spread across the nation. Wire Services is a news organization that provide content to subscribing media outlets. Because of these wire services, the urban newspaper boomed all along the East Coast and in major trading centers across the United States. Newspaper circulation wars broke out in many large cities and led to the development of yellow journalism, a form of journalism that seriously challenged the norms and values of most readers.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the political economy tradition. So, political economy can be defined as an analytical perspective or approach that considers how communication and power intersect to organize relations to the productions, distributions, and consumption of resources. The focus of this field is also on the change and development, familiarizing students with the process of historical changes, the process of societies from the agricultural to an industrial age. The leading economics, such as Adam Smith, David Ricardo, John Stuart Mill, and Karl Marx, extensively write on this topic. Though Marx also analyzed the processes within capitalist society and their transition to socialism. Moreover, the political economy tradition gives vital information regardless the functioning of the communication businesses and explains the production chain beginning with the creation by those like the film studios and ending with the consumers, and giving full details of how the consumer's behavior can be of impact to the coming production processes. It is methodological as it studies the complex of social relations that are both economic, political, social, and cultural, and also existential as it is committed to moral philosophy. The commitment is done on the basic value that define social conduct and the principles that should therefore inform process of working change in society, thus making the study both positive and normative. So these are the types of political economy. The first one is socialism. It promotes the idea that production and distribution of goods and wealth are maintained and regulated by society rather than particular group of people. The second is capitalism. This theory advocates profit as a motive of advancement and the ability of free markets to regulate to drive the economy on their own. The third one is communism. Is under the communism, production and distribution of overseen by the government. So, these are the cycles of mass media development and decline. The first one is rise of new media giants. It's new entrants such as AOL, Compaq, MSN, Google, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook emerges in the 1990s. Displacing traditional media firm, which include radios, television, and newspaper firm. Although the new media companies gained more efficiencies as they grew, the old media failed to adapt and were faced competition. Replacing of old media with the introduction of the new technology, old brands such as the network TV become ineffective. Internet streaming and other web-based platforms are emerging as significant and dominant media type, causing previous form of old media to either evolve into another form of new media or be confined to the sidelines of and be effective at other useful roles. The third one is new media criticism. The new media companies have been criticized for focusing heavily on attracting users without considering the broader societal impacts. They often prioritize what people want, even if it leads to issues like hate speech, online indecency, or unethical competitive practices. Unlike other media companies, which often followed established ethical standards and were more accountable, new media platforms are sometimes less tied to social responsibility, sparking debates about their long-term effects on society. The last one is media power concentration or oligopoly. As media industries mature, competition tends to decrease, and a few large companies dominate the market, which may lead to more socially responsible behavior and less offensive content production.
Okay, the next one is assumptions of mass society theory. First of all, mass society theory first appeared in the late 19th century. Various traditional social elites struggled to make sense of the disruptive consequences of modernization. The mass media were symbolic of all that was wrong with modern society. Mass newspaper of the yellow journalism era were viewed as gigantic monopolistic enterprise, employing unethical practice to pander to similiterate mass audiences. But why is the media so dangerous to society? What makes them threatening? How are they able to subvert traditional norms and values? The first assumption is that the media subvert essential norms and values and threaten the social order. Thus, elite control of the media is necessary. The second assumption is that the media have the power to reach out and directly influence the minds of average people so that their thinking is transformed. This is also known as the direct effect assumption, which is that the media in and of himself can produce direct effects. The third assumption is that once the media transforms people's thinking, all sorts of bad long-term consequences result, not only bringing ruin to individual life, but also creating social problems on a vast scale. Mass society theory's fourth assumption is that the average people are vulnerable to the media because they have been cut off and isolated from traditional social institutions that previously protected them from manipulation. The fifth assumption is that the social chaos initiated by the media will be solved by establishment of a totalitarian social order. This assumption was developed during the 1930s and reached its peak of popularity in the United States during the Red Scare of the 1950s. From 1930 to 1960, mass society theories outline a classic scenario for the degeneration of mass society into totalitarianism. Okay. The next point is Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. In Gemeinschaft, it means that people are held together by close interpersonal relationship like relative culture and ostensible social positions. These communities are compact. There are direct interactions with other members face to face, and most of the rules are not written down explicitly. People are interdependent and linked mainly by marriage and common belief. It is typical of aggregated, pre-literate rural and village societies. On the other hand, Gesellschaft is the industrial society indicated by formal socially approved association and not from tradition. Proxemics, there is a clear observation of intimate personal relationship and impersonal business and official relationships regulated by contract laws and regulation. Settings are large and belong to large cosmopolitan cities. The number of social institutions is reduced. People are more liberated and yet isolated as far as personally related bonds are concerned.
Okay, my turn. Now we will talk about the emergence of a critical and also cultural theories of mass communication. As you can see, there are four corners from culture, cultural studies, microscopic interpretive, and also macroscopic structure. In the culture itself is the learned behavior of members of given by social group, while under culture studies is a focus on use of media to create some kind of forms to of culture that structure everyday life. On the microscopic interpretive, it's a theory that focuses on how the individuals and social groups use the media to create and foster forms of culture that structure everyday life. These theories are usually referred to as a cultural studies theory. The last one is the macroscopic structure. It focuses on how media institutions are structured within the capitalist economies. These theories focus attention on the way of social elites operate media to earn profits and exercise influence in society. They argue that elites sometimes use media to propagate the hegemonic culture as a means of maintaining their dominant position in the social order. Now we will dive deeper into the macroscopic versus microscopic theories. On the macroscopic, it's as I have told you earlier, it more focused on a large scale of societal phenomena aligned with the communication political economy approach by examining how media and communication system affect the broader social order. This approach looks at how media ownership, regulation, and also economic policies influence societal structure and power dynamics, revealing how the elites use media to maintain control over the masses. And the next one is microscopic, which is focus more on the small scale everyday phenomena, connect it to the communication political economy approach by investigating how does the media influence individuals daily lives. This includes looking at how media content shapes personal beliefs, behaviors, and interaction, and also how the ordinary people consume and interpret media within the context of their social and economic environment. If we combine both of these macroscopic and also microscopic theories, the communication of the political economy approach provides a comprehensive understanding of media's role in society, from the influence of large-scale power structure to the impact on individual experience.
Okay, we continue on to our Marxist theory. So, as we've learned in the previous lessons, Marxist theory focuses on classism and the exposure of elite control within society. So, reading from this, Marxist theory focuses on the class system and elite control connects well with the political economy approach in communication. This approach examines how media and communication industries are influenced by economic and political structure. Essentially, the political economy approach looks at how the elites who control the means of production also dominate media and cultural industries. They influence what information is disseminated, shaping public perceptions and narratives in ways to maintain their power and control. The manipulation can encourage people to accept the status quo and act against their own interests, echoing the core tenets of Marxist theory. So the relations of go back. So the relations of Marxist theory within a political economy of communication really just refers to the power dynamics of the elite controlling the economy, so to speak. So the bigger the power that the elites have within like the economy, they have the power to shape their public perceptions in a way to maintain, of course, their power. So next slide, please. So Neo-Marxism and the communication political economy approach align well in their focus on power dynamics within the superstructure. Neo-Marxists argue that ideological battles within public discourse rather than violent revolution. This connects directly to the political economy approach in communication, which examines how media industries are influenced by economic and political power structures, so almost the same as Marxism. Essentially, both perspectives see media as a critical tool in maintaining or challenging social power structures. By controlling media narratives and content, those in power can shape public opinion and change the status quo, and so on and so forth. And conversely, counter-hegemonic media efforts to challenge these dominant ideologies, offering alternative viewpoints and fostering societal change. So thank you for listening to our video presentation. This is very good material to learn for you. So yeah, we'll see you in the next video. See you around.